Welcome back. You're still watching The Perspective with me and Phelim Kine. Let's go to something more interesting. The ruckus about the military conducting virginity test on its female member, or female recruit rather.
Yeah.
Where does human rights stand on it?
This is an absolutely appalling abuse.
I personally find it appalling.
It's absolutely appalling. Human Rights Watch issued a report on May 14th that exposed how for decades the Indonesian Armed Forces, the TNI, has required female recruits and the fiancés of military officers to undergo virginity tests.
And the fiancés as well?
Exactly.
Oh,
now, here's the situation. Virginity tests are absolute junk science. There is no valid reason to give it. The WHO has issued directives saying never give virginity tests. There's no valid reason to give it. Virginity tests have also been classified by the United Nations as cruel and unusual punishment and a violation of the Convention Against Torture. So here is this abusive, painful, discriminatory, humiliating procedure, which is part of joining the military for women who want to help the country by joining the military in Indonesia. That's the first problem. The second problem is that the highest levels of the Indonesian Armed Forces have not only admitted that they do it, but defended them as saying that virginity tests are essential to determine the morality of female recruits. So you have General Muldoko saying that, yes, we do virginity tests, and it's a good thing. This is absolutely unacceptable. And again, this is where we need very direct political leadership from the government to say, this is something that the Indonesian government and no part of the Indonesian government should do or will do, and we're going to fix it. And we're not hearing that so far. The palace has been quiet on this, and that's a problem.
It's been a priority number, I don't know, something there. But what else can you do? Pressure? Public pressure?
Well, right now, as we're having this interview, there is a meeting of the International Committee for Military Medicine in Bali. It's an international grouping of military doctors. And we have been pressuring this committee for months to raise this issue with the TNI, with the TNI's Surgeon General, Major General Daniel Chen, to announce that this is not something that a modern military in a progressive democracy should do. And we're hopeful that that will bear fruit in terms of stopping this, because this is not only appalling, humiliating, abusive, and painful, it's so unnecessary.
It's irrational.
Yeah, and to fix it, you don't need to change the law, you don't need to go to parliament, you just have to say, don't do that anymore. This isn't what a normal progressive democracy should do to any of its citizens. So we're hoping that there will be some real changes, because remember, it's not just the military. The National Police does this as well. And these are abuses in two key aspects of the security forces, which the government is kind of shrugging about and not confronting. The government needs to confront, condemn, and encourage better behavior.
Knock on wood.
Yes, sir.
Last time you were here, that was January.
Yes, sir.
And you had a report recent, you launched a report about, was it the World Report 2015?
Yes. Yeah.
What have you seen change? I'm talking specifically of Indonesia, for example. Have you seen anything change, anything moving forward at least?
Yeah. So since January, January was very early in the administration of the President Widodo's government. So the government had expressed its intention to address some important human rights issues, such as impunity for kidnappings and extrajudicial killings in 1998. And it has also sort of broken the taboo of talking about the massacres of 1965 and 1966. So there was some good rhetoric. But I would say in the 5 months since we were here and we launched that World Report, a large part of Indonesia's international perceptions has been affected by its stance on the death penalty. And the executions of up to now, I believe, 14 convicted drug...
5 plus 8.
Yeah. So these are convicted drug traffickers, in spite of the fact that that the United Nations has ruled that drug trafficking and drug crimes should not be punished by the death penalty. So there are international standards which Indonesia has signed on to, which it is defying by continuing to pursue the death penalty for drug trafficking convictions. And also, when you consider that there is no proven deterrent value in executing drug traffickers. Unfortunately, President Widodo has made the death penalty for drug traffickers a signature policy issue, and based on a mistaken impression that by executing drug traffickers, drug crimes are going to decrease. There is no evidence for that. And he needs to recognize that and realize that there are more humane ways to deal with this problem of drug trafficking and drug crimes generally.
Right. So it's only, it's been rhetoric so far.
It's been a lot of rhetoric, and we hope that these are kind of teething problems and missteps of an early administration, and we have hope that the government will address these issues and will make itself open to listening to the fact that there is convincing evidence that executing drug traffickers has no problem-solving capacity whatsoever.
And besides that area, any other areas that were touched?
Besides that, I think that we have also noticed the fact that the government is making positive rhetoric, at least with regards to improving the situation in Papua.
Right. Well, the rest of the country, you have Maluku actually that have the same more or less situation. Less severe, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another issue that is not directly a human rights issue, but which has influence on human rights issues, is the issue of corruption. And we were extremely concerned about, and continue to be concerned about, pressure on the KPK. Because obviously corruption and the ability for corrupt individuals to steal from the public budget has profound implications for economic and social and cultural rights, access to medical care, education, etc. So having a robust anti-corruption commission is essential to protecting people's basic economic and social rights.
Right. But I don't know whether this comes into the area. A lot of people when talking about this conflict about police, is that police, like the legislative, they don't have any direct supervision. Should they be put, for example, like in any other countries, under a ministry or department or defense or whatever, rather than stand directly under the president and being able to just on whatever he says?
Yeah, I think you've identified a key problem, and that having much more robust and direct civilian control over it, besides that of the president, who has a lot of issues on his plate every day, I think that's one step to helping to rein in some of the abuses associated with the police, and ensuring that the Indonesian police moves toward a cleaner, more predictable, and more rights-respecting stance.
Right. Because KPK was actually formed because of the authority deems that the police, the other law enforcers, were not really up to the job.
Right, they needed an outside entity to police it. Yeah.
Okay. Right, unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you very much for sharing interesting news about Rohingyas. Something that I was not really aware of before. But thank you once again, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.